if you are going through unemployment and someone is saying that, oh, it's not that big a deal and just do some courses and you'll get back on your feet, you know, they're lying. I'm someone who has been at the depths of the depths of the ocean when it comes to unemployment, and I know i'm not I'm not in any way disregarding of all the people who have actually been and homeless and everything, when it comes to unemployment. I'm not taking anything from them, but I guess when I'm saying that, being who I am, I was at that time at the most vulnerable, at the most dangerous position of my life. The thing is that I was always someone who always thought that I would never want to be dependent on anyone. And I've always lived my life in a way that I am self sufficient, in a way that I not only take care of myself but take care of people around me, and any way I can help. But when I was hit by unemployment, I was in the most hurtful for me, in the most, I don't know what's the word for it, but it was the most weirdest and the most dangerous dilemma that I ever came across. In one way, it was I living in a city where I have no help. At the same time, yes, I have independence, but I have no money, no source of income to take care of myself. And on the other hand, it's going back to my hometown. And yes, I, as much as I love my hometown, it's again a place for me where my mental health started to go downwards. So for me, it was always that place I would bring me more down. So it was a dilemma where I didn't know what to do. And yes, when it comes to that dependency part that I share with you, I really didn't want to, but I was at such a vulnerable level that I reached out to friends. I reached out for monetary help. I reached out in every way possible because I know that I'm someone who has been taking care of myself for a very long time. So even if monetary is cleared in terms of loan, I can take care of myself. And yes, I'm going to go through like ups and downs, highs and lows so much, but then again, it's like something that I'll be able to manage. But the monetary is something I cannot in any way take care of myself. So that was the most horrible thing. And yes, like a lot of people told me that just apply and you will get it. And it's probably you not doing your job properly, you not applying, you are busy with other things. And as much as those things were hurtful, it was also as if that I became very spiteful of my own self, because in ways I thought it's actually my fault. Because yes, when it comes to a very big emotional turmoil, a very big dilemma, and these type of emotional big breakdowns that take a toll on your health, there were times that I would go on LinkedIn, I would apply, but at the same time I would I would get anxious in the middle of it and I would just shut down. I didn't know what I would do, but I would still do that. And at that time, yes, for me it was okay, that's my fault why I'm not able to do that. But there's a reason that I have included this in my failing forward, because as much as that period was a supposed failure for me, it was at the same time eye opening for me, and I not only began to see myself in a different picture, but I developed this other lens that I was able to also see the people I'm surrounded with. It's true when people say that when you're at your high, they are going to be people surrounding you, because at that time you are in your best form. If you are someone who charismatic, you would be at, because you're at peak of your level, like, come on. But when you're in your, the depression moment, you are not yourself. The thing is that you cannot do anything that defined you at that point. And that's when it just matters that who stays. And for me, it was eye opening in that way, but in other ways, because I basically grew up from a very struggling family. And while at every time, at every school event, I would always have to think about how to spend money, how to be very particular about what I get and what I don't get. I had this feeling, and I had this ambition and a dream that when I'll have my own money, I won't look at the price tag when I'll buy, because that's something equal to an achievement for me. So even if I'm paying more, that'd be okay, because at that time I'm able to do that, and it's not like old times. But of course, when it comes to unemployment, of course, when you are living on loans, it's not like going to do that. And when I became that conscious person, not in terms of my spending, but it was as if it started with spending, slowly started with groceries, and slowly started with extra important items, thinking about if I actually need them, or if it's like a want that can easily wait. It began to arise at a point that I started to feel more. And I know that a lot of times society has this stigma that don't feel a lot and you'll get hurt a lot. And that's true. You are going to get hurt a lot. And unemployment break you in a way that you would become this, I wouldn't say vulnerable person, but if I had to describe, it would as if you would become this very you would become this newborn baby, and like your inner self, and you are so sharp in terms of looking at people behavior and noticing and doing everything, that at that time, yes, you're going to see things you if ignored. You're going to realize things you never realized before. And at that time, as much as people are going to tell you that this is past and this is okay and do this and do that, that will be the time you would have to actually sit with yourself. Yes, one of the hardest things. Sit with yourself and ask yourself the most important questions in a way that if it's going to be a life with you living with you, how are you going to cope up with it? And that was exactly with me. I have no idea the things I did when it comes to unemployment. Yes, I was at that time taking loans, but I always wanted to be this generous spirit. And I'm right here not bragging. I'm right here just sharing that I like Ramadan is actually around the corner. And at that time, I didn't have a job. I was actually a share of money. It was just help that was given to me with from one of my friends, that I'm very grateful for her help. And I would get I would get all the samosas and all the fried items for other people. I would give them that, and I would, if there a way that I could spend money and help them, I would do that. And the shocking thing is that if I have a limited amount, for example, if I have 5,000 rupees, then that means that 5,000 needs to go on for an entire month. Then how am I spending that on people for Ramadan? Like, they have things, but how am I spending it on my stray cats? Why? How am I doing that? How I am like doing all these things, going out for volunteering, and when I look back, it was I guess just a way that God basically wanted the person who gave me that role to have all those benefits, and somehow I was the person that God chose to do all those things. So it wasn't as if that I was getting the benefits. It was that the person who actually gave me the amount, she was the one who was indirectly getting all those benefits. She didn't even know about it. I reached a point that I started to have panic attacks, and I started to go down again that mental rabbit hole that I have struggled to get out of. And for me, I take care of my stray cats, and I've been doing that for over an year. And as much as I have tried to detach myself so that I don't get affected, because I have buried kittens, I have rushed them to the doctors to to have this just glimmer of hope that no, that kitten didn't die. And I would take them with they wrapped in one of my shirts, and I would run to the hospital, and they would tell me they're yes, they died, and I would bury them. But at the same time, I did all those things. I learned all of those things about myself when I had nothing to give. And like right now, it just feels so surreal, because like the way God plans, it's like he's the most amazing of all planners. And I know when it comes to these failing forward series, it's kind of like a tad bit related to the notes to myself, where I think out loud and they're just like a mark for me. But unemployment is very important, and there's a reason I'm sharing here, because on LinkedIn I have seen people who have worked 13 years, 10 years, 20 years of their life, and then they hit this slump and they don't know what to do. And it's true how much people are going to tell you, do this, do this, do that. It's at the same time, it's again like it's the most scary, it's the most uh I would say dangerous thing. And I use dangerous very carefully, because I do feel that you reach to a point where you have to ask yourself that how are you going to take care of yourself when you have nothing to provide for yourself, provide for you. And I was grateful I had people around. I was grateful I had my parents to help me. But yeah, because I would hate myself to even ask for loans, to always say that I'll return back. And like that was the most like painful things I did. But I did reach a point that I had to pray, to just ask God that I don't want to reach a point to do something I'll regret. So do help me, in this journey. And as much as it was difficult, it was also very eye-opening thing for me in terms of the way I once said the way I grew out of my old version, right? I was never the person who would record a video at around 5 a.m. Because I have a YouTube channel. I mean, what? I was never the person. I was always the person. Yes, I want to share my thoughts with people, but I never had the medium. And it's true that when you hit the rock bottom, and it's gut wrenching, it's the most horrible thing. And that's one of the reasons why the things I've been doing, the channel I have built, is because of that. But I just want to put this out in terms of the unemployment, that yes, it's bad, and yes, it's horrible, and yes, you're going to have a time where people around you are going to tell you that do this, do that, do this, do that. It's you, you should do this, you should do that. And if you're someone who are unable to do that, you're going to have a very difficult relationship with yourself. But just just know that yes, it's going to pass, but there is a calm when you give into, when you accept in the situation you are in, when you accept that yes, it's horrible, yes, it is, and then you take some time to internalize that in you, in order to just make your body believe that yes, it's bad. Because if you let other people's thought in you, you will definitely reach a point that you will have this battle with yourself, because you will be defining your feelings on the basis of what other people are telling you. And that's not how your body was developed, was reformed, evolved. You are the one who knows, your body is the one who knows the upbringing, the past, the present, the future, the feelings, everything. So it's just that, just accepting it really helped me in terms of saying, okay, it's bad, and okay, I have these weaknesses, and I have these hurdles in me that I cannot go through. And there was a time I had no idea what I'm going to do. I didn't even know if I liked doing anything. And but slowly and gradually, just keep moving forward. I know, easier said than done. I reached a point where I was triggered by just one more failure, because I just couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take one more rejection email saying to me, unfortunately, they didn't take me. Like, why? Just give me a chance of one interview. I was just always like that. But it just gets a toll at you. And it's true, it really does. So when it comes to it being part of the failing forward, this unemployment that a lot of you are going through, and I went through, so it's like my personal experience, is that when you are going through that unemployment, just never lose a connection with yourself. Don't define yourself on the basis of what other people are telling you should be doing. You are more capable of knowing what your strengths are, what your obstacles are, and how you need to go around to make sure that you land on your feet. And yes, there are going to be times 5, 6, 10, 20,000 where you fail, and accepting that failure, taking time to internalize that, and then getting up and then moving, and then taking slow step, even the smallest of the smallest step, that's good. But just this part of failing forward, because I have seen myself in situation I could not think of going back, but at the same time I can see the way I've blossomed. And that's why I'm sharing this with you, that it's important when you're going through that phase that you never lose a connection with yourself. And yes, they're going to be downs, more downs than ups, for sure. But take time to internalize those emotions, because at the end of the day, it's you for you. And as much as people are going to tell you they're always there, and yes, for some people there are people who are always there, and like, I'm blessed that I can see people who have like loyal people around them. But still, at the end of it, just know that it's you for you. So never break that relationship. And I really hope the people who are going through unemployment, and if this video reach you, I really hope you get through this time and never lose touch with yourself, because trust me when I say, your struggles are the most precious and the most special thing about you.